Yeah. It's pretty cold in here. We have the AC to like 65.
That's
All right, we're
a
back.
little
Sorry
bit way
about
too
that.
cold.
All right, where did we cut off?
You were talking about how you want them to get 4 American players on Na'Vi.
Na'Vi US.
Again, with Dandy.
The return.
So, okay, so if I'm the general manager of Na'Vi or whatever, I think they made their changes pretty late throughout the year, right?
Yeah, they did.
Like within 4 months or something. Yeah.
Right. So it was they had limited options in terms of what players to get. I think the ideal thing for your fan base is obviously you keep Dendi, still incredibly popular player, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you still want a winning team, right? So I take all that ES Force money that you have and just fucking after TI go out and try and grab the best fucking 5 players that you can. If that includes Dendi, great. I think ideally you want it to. But if it doesn't, so be it. You have a whole bunch of money. There's going to be a lot of players available after TI. I'm taking that money and I'm building a better fucking Dota team.
All right, Charlie. Maybe you'll be the one to guide them through.
I'm not working for them.
Would you keep Dandy if you were the guy?
If you were the one making all the decisions?
If you were the Na'Vi guy.
I don't think you can really make a decision like that. So you can't just set out with clear structure or clear arbitrary rules for yourself, like I will keep Dendi or I won't keep Dendi or we're kicking him for sure. It's simply just about the options that you have in front of you and what you can do with the money and the resources that you have.
I will say, so I think the person I'm closest with in Dota's team is probably EGM, right? And I saw him do all that shit with the alliance stuff. And part of the thing is once Jerry left Alliance, remember when he was playing with Bambo and shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
He kind of found his groove again, and then Alliance is like, hey, we see that you're playing well again. Let's make this happen. And it's okay, but at the same time, I feel like for Dendi, I watched Alliance become a shell of what it once was, right? And it just became kind of sad. I feel like the best thing Loda did was give himself that self-imposed exile for a few. He gets to take a break from Dota for a bit. He doesn't have to be associated. He doesn't have to go through these hard losses where they barely make it or some shit. He gets some time off, and then he can kind of reevaluate his situation and see what he really wants to do. I feel like that was the best thing for him, but I feel like with Dendi, I personally think he can still make it as a player. I think he's a great player. I just think for whatever reason, X, Y, or Z, the fit just isn't good. Maybe he does what every other player has done at this point, and just go west, play with some new guys, see what options are available to him. Of course, I don't think that'll ever happen just because of the amount of history that those two have together, right? Na'Vi and Dendi, but
I mean, I think what's likely going to happen is, the ideal situation for them is that they still keep Dendi and they just try and build around him again.
Do you think there are many players who want to play with Dendi? Because that's got to be part of it, right? Is if Na'Vi organization has got to be keeping Dendi, and they're wanting to look to recruit some players. Do you think that other pro players hold Dendi in high enough regard to make that move?
Depends on their options.
Oh.
I mean, I don't think he's anybody's first choice right now. No. If you're gonna ask, if you want a team that's capable of top 6 at TI and the players that you think are potentially capable of that, Dendi is not going to be their first choice.
He might be a first choice for one of those. I mean, there's a lot of NA teams now that just they want that big exposure, on social media. But if he's actual tier 1 team, then no.
I mean, I think the road for Dendi is going to be him having to prove himself again.
All right. Well, moving on to the Southeast Asian qualifier, TNC take top of their group. Faceless don't even make it out of groups, and Fnatic takes second. Execration end up taking that final slot. No real surprise about TNC, right? TNC was, at least in my mind, one of the favorites of the whole entire region.
Thanks. One more thing. Do you guys think 3 slots for SCA was cool or good? Or do you think it was stupid? I mean, just to make it even, right? NA has 3 teams now, all that.
I think it was okay. I think it was okay just because they opened up the international to 18 teams instead of 16 teams, and they didn't give an SCA team an invite. I think it's fine.
That's true, but like 3 invites in a tournament where you only have 10 teams, like it's just I don't know. I mean, I would say they're probably the lowest skilled region out of the even lower than SA.
You think they're lower than SA?
I think so.
Ooh, I don't know about that, man.
I don't know. I don't know if you watch. I watched a lot of Fnatic and Meninsky games, and if I'd say TNC played the best. Like, they actually looked like a team capable of winning games. Fnatic and Meninsky, when I was, like, watching them, I mean, Meninsky didn't even make it. They made it to the playoffs, but, like, I was just watching their games before I'd go home at night, and they weren't good. Fnatic wasn't good. They won when they needed to, but, like, they played clutch gamers and execration. It just felt weird. I mean, they would have qualified if there was just 2 teams anyways, but I think they're the lowest. Which might just be me, though.
Yeah, but historically, C teams have done pretty well at TI. Like,
so you're just going by historical to give them 3 invites?
Well, I mean...
When there's a team named Skate Masters and Moogle? And Skate who abandoned the tournament halfway through?
Meanwhile, you had South American qualifiers that had, what, 6 or 5 different open qualifier teams who all had to go through?
But did they play all the way through? They did.
Hey, dude, Skate Masters had my boy Lord Boons from Australia.
Who gave up, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That's it. I think TNC is really good. No, Skate Masters, they lost 4 games in a row and didn't show up the next day.
Damn.
All right, so here's the question. Yeah. Do you think TNC is better than
Yes, Infamous, yeah.
Infamous?
Absolutely, yeah. I think TNC is actually I think Infamous is a good team, but I think TNC is a really good team.
Okay, what about Fnatic then?
No, I don't think they're... I thought, like, Ajit was really good when I forget the team he played on before, but he did not look that good, like, going into this, and he's their carry player. I don't think it's really carry-centric, like, they have to show off that much. I just don't think he's that good, but I think...
All right, here's the other question. Do you think Fnatic is better than Planet Dog?
As of right, like, I don't know. That one, I mean, I don't really watch much. I'm just going to say no, probably. I think Planet Dog just has better players in general. I don't think Febi's individually skilled as, like, a lot of the other players. Neither, I don't think Ajit is either.
So in your mind, so we'll talk about the weakest regions then. Is Southeast Asia is the weakest for you?
Yeah, I'd say SCA and then SA. It goes like that for me, yeah.
And
then CIS.
Damn, dude.
Well, what would you guys say? You'd say SA is the weakest, and then who?
I mean, I guess we'll like we're going across the board,
possibly,
right? So we're not just looking at the top team. We're looking at every single team below that. So yeah, I'd have to say SA. I think Infamous shows like a lot of potential, but every team below them is who the fuck knows.
Yeah,
I think Southeast Asia does have a pretty competitive, 4th, 5th, 6th kind of teams.
Yeah,
I mean, I would point to this year Europe being a bit weak in their qualifiers.
That's true. If it's just but I mean, if we're just talking qualifiers, yeah, I meant like because SCA didn't have any like automatically qualified teams. That's the difference, right? While you had Liquid who got an instant invite. Like, I don't know if we're just talking about qualifiers, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fucking like outside the qualifiers aside or whatever. Let's just look at the regions, man.
Yeah.
Really think C as a whole is weaker than SA?
Yes.
Greg, you're such full of shit.
I do. I think TNC, like, if it was like a GSL best of 7 or what is that one where like winner stays on, maybe TNC 4-0s them, but if one team beats TNC from South America, they're gonna win. Like, what are you gonna say, Geek Fam? I mean,
guys, we're gonna find this shit out anyways once TI happens. Like,
I mean, it's not like the greatest measure of which region is stronger than which one, right? Because it's only Infamous from SA.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
why.
if Infamous goes far, then
That-
Grand will be.
That's not the argument, right? We're not
It's not.
talking about.
I just think it's because they get so SA got 1 slot and SCA got 3. They got 2 more just to even things out because SAA does good at
we gotta see how like
dumb.
SG
It's
does.
Fnatic.
all the other
It's
fucking...
Fnatic versus Infamous at this point in time. That's the way I see it. If Infamous actually places over Fnatic, then maybe you're right, Grant. But
Maybe I'm right.
Who knows? I guess we'll see.
Alright.
Guess we will see.
all right, and finally the Chinese qualifiers. IGV went out their groups.
Hell yeah.
LFY took out the qualifiers first, followed up by their sister team LGD. I think it was about expected. Maybe you have VGJ who's missing in that list just purely because of the names on that team, but I don't think anybody expected the team itself to be doing well.
Yeah, didn't they like suck? I mean, like they got invited to the summit like really early when they were still like super good, and then when like the summit came around, they're like, "Uh-oh, we may have invited them a little early."
They looked really unimpressive at the summit. I think the only time that they did well or looked sort of impressive was around Star Ladder. The first Star Ladder that Liquid won, where they pulled out like the Invoker Panda shit. And
Was it that? No, that was Wings.
No, that was Wings. But they did other shit where like ROTK was just like on Nyx and Centaur and just like playing really well in the beginning. And then they just like it feels like they have no idea how to play Dota right now.
Any other teams that stood out to you from the Chinese qualifiers? I mean, I know personally, I really like LGD. They may have gotten third in their group, but I think they're actually going to do very well. We also, I mean, I guess they did well at MDL, so that kind of proves it. But
yeah, no, I'm glad IGV made it. I thought they fell out. Like they were super good at the other MDL, the one like a while ago that EG won, and then they just like fell off after that. So I'm glad they're doing good. Like dogfights, me and Jag always talk about this. Dogfights was the original Bobica, the guy who could play all those invis roaming heroes, like the 4 positions that run at you, and then they just fell off the face of the earth. And what better time to come back on Earth than qualify for a TI?
mm-hmm.
And I think I actually thought Team Max was going to be pretty good, but I think China is one of those. I think China is the strongest region. I think they're better than NA. I'll even say that. But they were just so stacked. You had to have 2 good days. In other regions, maybe just have 1 good day and you make the playoffs. In China, you had to have 2 good days because the main qualifier team, IGV, they still lost 2 games. In other regions, it was like maybe they lost 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a tough region.
Anything else? Charlie, Blitz, did you watch any of the Chinese qualifiers?
No, I didn't have enough time.
I saw a little bit.
I mean, in that case, we could just go straight to MDL because I know you guys watched.
Yeah,
watched
you're
that
way
at
up
least,
though.
which-
The Chinese Open qualifiers are actually almost as fun as NA. I think if I actually could speak their language, it would be better. Like it was always a really good team versus a really bad team because I had to cast like 2 hours of the Open qualifiers, and it was like I thought they weren't allowed to like all chat. It was just literally all chat the entire time. I didn't know what they were saying, but I could assume it was like pauses and shit. And I was like, I have no clue what's going on, but this is hype. And then they would lose. Like there was a game, it was 44-0 was a game I cast, and I'm like, that's it. It's a good Open qualifier game. I don't know. I love Open qualifiers. That's all I wanted to add.
I mean, I highly doubt they're really BMing each other like the North American qualifiers.
Yeah, they're probably just like gotcha with the elbow, unlike NA where it's like I'm just gonna kill you. Like, well, okay. Gotcha.
Did you enjoy our Open qualifier run, Grant?
Yeah.
Who never casted us?
I casted you guys once in the first one. Actually, let me wait up. Gosh, it's hard to go through. You guys lost to the BSJ team, right? Or no?
No, we lost to.
Oh, you lost to the winners.
first
You lost to
Open
Gunner
qualifier.
and Venom.
Got her.
No, yeah, they were just. I don't know. They were playing really good. No, I enjoyed your run. I will say, I've already said it to you guys. If you ever put Ryaboru's middle and actually think you're gonna win,
Well, we put him off.
Who's in our
We
mid?
Put him off lane.
I owned that game. I was a 5-0 quap with a
I'm playing
Veil.
Ryaboru's, whatever. No, I don't know. It was you guys did good for casters. I thought you'd put up a real good performance.
I definitely outdrafted them. I mean,
So
I
why
was
didn't you
feeding with
win?
Bolton. What?
Why didn't you win?
'Cause we
Things
suck.
happened.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you'd played great, Cap.
Oh, thanks, dude.
I didn't watch.
I know you didn't. I was playing the hard 5 position while I was doing absolutely nothing in the game.
Yeah, but see, at least open qualifiers do stuff like that, right? Like, you guys aren't required to cast, so you can play, like, see how you match up. I'm glad there's going to be open qualifiers pretty much. I mean, that goes to something we're going to talk about later, but in, like, every tournament now, there's more than likely to be open qualifiers, which makes me super hype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is going to be multiple opportunities. Maybe Blitz, you want to make a veggies run for a minor, dude?
I would play pretty much every qualifier for fun. That if Ben Wu's willing to.
There we go. That's why I love it.
We got invited to something once, right? It was like
Yeah,
the Summit.
The Summit qualifiers, yeah.
And we
The one
instantly lost.
FTL, yeah, you guys got dumpstered. You had a dumb name that time. It wasn't vegetables. What was it? Well, I'll find it. God, your name was so stupid. I remember this because I got mad. I think it was this one. Wait up.
That must
You
have been.
keep talking. I'm going to find it.
I bet this is on Blitz changing our name or something.
Definitely wasn't, because I give a shit about that the least.
Yeah.
Fogged was on that team, right? Yeah, that was the one he was on.
Yeah. It was
It
hard.
does say vegetables, but it wasn't vegetables at the time. I remember it was something really dumb.
If we had
Okay.
if we had whatchamacallit, I'd say if we had CCNC and Frowns again, we would have won.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
CCNC was a finals attender at the qualifiers. He's a little above you guys now, but
Franz was busy gatekeeping him.
yeah, that was actually the
was
FDL
dirty.
crew. Dude, the FDL crew actually just fucks with everyone, right? Because I mean, that's not really a team; it's like a whole group of people, right? And they just gatekeep like every
Yeah.
tournament. It's just a random team. They're just, oh, sorry, beat you.
Remember when Stan King dropped CC
Yep.
like that, and then fucking he had his revenge, man.
Nope. Mhm.
I hear Stan's done, by the way.
Playing
Yeah, he's done.
Really?
like
Yeah, he's
with
just gonna
Call of
focus on his-
Dota, or he's gonna coach
No,
permanently.
like competitively, because he wants to. I think his like, because for people that don't know, Stan's like an actuary. He has a legit job and shit.
Well, he quit like 6 months ago, but he
I
probably
think
just
he's
wants to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna work.
Well, I'm glad NP. I mean, it's not like it's a pity thing. Like, oh, you lost. Here you go. We'll take you. Like, he's really smart, but that sucks. He's like one of the few actual new coaches, right?
Yeah,
I mean, not new coach, like new like captain, like in NA. Like, there's none of
Yeah.
those. There's just
he's
none.
really good too. I think.
And it's yeah. Well, if that's true, that sucks.
That does suck a lot.
Love you, Stanley.
Stan's a boss.
Yes.
Really smart guy.
Too smart.
Yeah, he needs to have less options so that he has to all in on Dota.
It's true.
I mean, he needs to have better options in Dota.
All right, moving forward, MDL. I have the quotation "Return of China," but I guess there's always going to be a question mark, right, about any of these tournaments after the qualifiers and how hard teams are actually trying. But in MDL, the top 3 teams, LGD took the whole entire thing. They beat LFY, and Newbie actually took 3rd. So that was just all China top placing at MDL.
Yeah. I think it really it shows the depth of that region, how like individually skilled those players are, and like people are gonna say things about like OG, EG, or some teams didn't try or whatever. I think they tried. They didn't run everything that I think they want, like they would have to win, like if it was Epicenter or whatever. But I think they definitely like played their best, like to go in. I don't think they made moves that like to throw the game or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they started at disadvantage with the draft. Like,
I think they just tried to push their limits, both in terms of play and in terms of just drafts, just to see what worked, to see what they could do. That was it.
Taking a little bit of a like a VP style of things, just being a little bit more experimental in your drafting and seeing where you can go with that.
Sure.
But surely that's going to apply to. Do you think the Chinese teams do that as well?
Probably not as much. I mean, I think LGD and LFY, they both wanted wins. Haven't had one in a while. It's not like a luxury that they like like sort of going all YOLO in a tournament. It's not like a luxury that they can take as opposed to EG or OG that's won a bunch of lands.
Also, Clutch Gamers is pretty much disbanded from what I've heard. I know Gabby left for sure. And on like Facebook, I know they were there, and that was apparently the straw that broke the camel's back. So
They're lost to
that
Evil
team.
Geniuses.
Yeah, I think just them never winning a game on LAN after qualifying for like 4 of them. They didn't make the summit, so they went to like 3, right? MDL, Manila Masters, and was it Epicenter? I don't know. It was one of those tournaments, and I think they won 1 game that whole time.
And then they also just before that, right? In their qualifiers, they went back to back where they were one series away from being able to win. In fact, the first series they got 2-0'd by Fnatic, but on the second series it was 2-1 to Execration, so they were actually 1 game away from going to TI. So you probably figure after that and then going to MTL and not winning anything, you probably done real quick.
It is funny. The one thing SCA and SA have in common, all their drama and all that stuff's on Facebook. I don't know why. They just all use Facebook. It's so hard to like follow.
Oh, we learned about this when we were in Southeast Asia. It's something about the data plans that they get. Facebook is free. So that's why all of Southeast Asia is all based around Facebook.
Probably for SA then too, I assume is near the same thing. Yeah, it's a different world. Like when I want to look stuff up for them, I have to go like I can't even type them on the keyboard because they have like weird characters and stuff, and I'm like trying to Fiend. I'm like, I don't even know how to spell this. It's rough. It's RIP. What I'm saying is RIP Clutch. MDL broke you.
Yeah, I mean, and then TI will break like
12 plus
80% of the other Southeast Asian teams, and then Gabby will find himself on another team again.
Yep. Yeah, MDL was. I think it was really fun to watch. I like how EG. It felt like to me they pulled like the reverse VP. They picked the same 5 heroes every time, but then they just changed their roles the whole time. Like every time it was just random, the same exact heroes, and then everyone else would just play different heroes. It was interesting. It didn't work out like it did for VP at the Summit, but a very different class of players at MDL than the Summit.
Yeah.
I think Newbie losing to LGD was the only big surprise I had. I actually thought Newbie was way better than LGD, but
I thought Newbie would do a lot better.
Yeah. I don't know. Is it just me or does Moogie, U9, whatever, he feels really weak too. It feels like a lot of position ones feel super weak right now. This is a bad time to feel weak.
He had games where he did really well and he shined. I mean, like, position ones, I think somebody else said this, is in a strange place right now, right? It's the safe lane isn't exactly the safest lane anymore. You got these annoying fucking offlaners. Like everybody picks like some annoying offlaner like Legion or whatever that your traditional safe lane heroes don't have a great time against. And then your supports, like, you don't really have 2 supports anymore. Your 4 is running around the map doing other shit, most likely zoning out the other hero in mid. Your 5 position hero, maybe he can zone out the offlaner, maybe he can't, maybe he's running around too. Like, safe lane isn't safe.
Yeah.
Combination of losing your towers and having supports moving towards mid constantly. Mid seems to be such a focal point for games right now. The extra creeps that they introduced, the kind of heroes that we're running, just seems like these poor safe laners are a little bit left out in the cold. It's been a good time for offlaners. We had that last patch that was probably the biggest one in 7.0 with the shrines, but I think safe laners have had a rough go of it for the last few patches.
Still a great patch for offlaners.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but Blitz, I have a question. So offlaners are doing good now. Why is Newbie like the only true team that runs Tidehunter? Like, do you see what they see from it, and they actually win with it? I've heard some people say it's just the worst hero, and they win with it.
The problem is, like, for most teams, it's really slow, right? If you fuck up one Ravage, you pretty much lose the game. That's always been Tide's issue. Like, I remember if a team picks Tidehunter, the common counter back then, do you remember, for carry? It was you would pick Drow. and you would just straight up win because he would ravage you, and then you would just march down and win the game anyways. There was a game we played against if you guys remember Boston Major in the round of 16, the first round we played against Faceless.
Yeah.
And they ran a Drow strat, or they ran a Tidehunter strat, and Ice got like the sick 5-man ravage, and we got team wiped. And all the commentators are like, "Oh, that's gonna reset Faceless back into this game." And then Misery just tells everyone, "We're marching down mid again," and then they just lost the game. Like they immediately go watch that replay. Like they wipe us, and then they just lose the game because Ravage isn't up. And so it's like that spell. You need a lot of discipline, and you need to like. It's probably like one of the most awkward spells in Dota, because if you whiff it, then you lose, and if you use it too late and win a fight with it, then you probably still lose because you're still too far behind.
Yeah.
And if you use it too early and you fuck it up, then the same shit applies. Like it's an awkward ability.
So why is that different than, like, obviously, I mean, Enigma's just a completely better laner than Tide. Is his laning phase that much better? Whereas like his long cooldown ult, like it's just his laning phase is that better? What?
It's like so Enigma shoves waves because you can Eidolon, and you have the threat of Black Hole plus, because Black Hole goes through BKB, so your high ground defense is really sick.
Yeah.
But with Tidehunter, it's different. The way that Newbie utilizes it is, this hero is like, you stick him somewhere and he can't die. Like you don't want to ever dive at Tidehunter. That's the one thing, is you can play really greedy lanes, and oftentimes like the team response is just to shove with Tide, but what Newbie does is they use him kind of as their frontliner. So then he just sits there. You don't really want to push into him. They use the Ravage like a counter initiate spell.
Yeah.
They don't really help KP ever either. So
it seems like it's this weird combination between Enigma and Bristleback, right? Where you just, like, whenever a push is coming in, you just shove Tidehunter in front of that push, and then
you don't really want to go on a Tide. Whereas like Enigma, yeah, you're gonna blow that guy up all day because he has like 800 health and you can kill him real fast. But I mean, the hero just itself has always been really complicated because of that problem. I don't know if it's like Newbie. I mean, I see them win with it. They run it okay, but I'm not sure if it's like that's the main reason. But I do notice, like, I think Newbie out of all the teams overall, like, they're a really disciplined team. Like, they don't really whiff spells too much. I think KP's improved a lot.
Yeah, KP's definitely turned into one hell of a monster offlaner. I've been watching him, combination of him, S4, and then Universe, and I feel like those right now are like the best offlaners you can look at.
I think Kezu's really up there too right now.
Oh yeah, I mean Kezu's probably most improved player of this year.
Oh yeah, I'd
no
definitely
one else, right?
Definitely give them.
I remember. Oh, sorry, go on, Charlie.
Oh, I was just gonna say, in the beginning of the year, there were pro players making fun of him. And they would see his lane as a free lane, and now like they've changed their tune really quick at the end of the year. They have a lot more respect for him.
It feels like, I mean, it's sad we still do this, but it feels like a lot of players still think anyone who came from Han is just generally a little worse, because Kezu is one of the last people who came from like Han to Dota, and that's how it was. And he actually was pretty bad at the time, but now he's pretty good.
Do people still attribute it to coming from Han?
I mean, I think he was just not very
I've
good.
seen it still, but yeah, he's just
I don't know. I don't really see it.
He wasn't good for a while, and now he's just like he's a beast right now.
Yeah, he
Like,
got a lot better.
He's insane. Like there are a lot of games where he just straight up carries secret. Like everyone always talks about like Yapsor and stuff, and like yeah, Yapsor's a beast, mid one's a beast, but at the same time, like Kezu just kind of does his own thing. Always comes out on top. Has sick amount of farm. Has a ton of playmaking ults. Like there's not a whole lot more you can ask from him.
Yeah.
It seems like the looking at secret, the weak link on that team. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that, but for me at least, it's their safe lane. It's like they've got this really good 4 and 3 position. Mid one always goes off, but I feel like from a carry position, they're lacking the most.
I think it just goes to the one role again. I think, I mean, I wouldn't say NP's like ever like been a top 10 carry player in general, but I still think he's really good. But like when your role gets under the spotlight of like, why are like no one doing it? Like why'd anyone suck that game in like the carry role when you get free farm? I think it just comes down to that if a new patch hits, maybe he'll be the best. Like patches actually run Dota now, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of one players are like there's a transition period, right? Before you were almost always the star. You got the safest farm. You were the hero that always felt stronger than everybody else, and you could take certain fights. Now, we've had maybe a year and a half where that isn't true anymore. Your timings are off, and so there's this adjustment period of how do you play your role now? What is your purpose? Like you saw Artur go through it, where he probably wasn't playing the best, and he had to adapt to his new position. It wasn't just the fact that Sumail took a lot of farm as well. It's the fact that, you know, like he would say this all the time. It's like my safe lane's just getting run at. And so, you know, that's just the patch now, and people have to get used to that, and maybe you're seeing that with NP now.
All right, final setup. Well, not final. I guess final tournament we'll talk about is DreamLeague is coming up. Team Secret, Team Liquid, Vega Squadron, and Planet Odd. So 3 European teams, or I guess 2 European teams, 1 CIS, and 1 North American team. Do we have any ideas about? I mean, Vega Squadron have to be. I'm not sure how you approach this if you're Vega Squadron. Are you broken by the fact that your qualifiers didn't get you to TI, or are you more, I guess, motivated to be able to do well in this tournament because you don't have anything else?
I mean, first place isn't bad. I mean, it's $80,000, which is, you know, a lot more than some of those other tier 3 lands, but still, like, I think they're just going to view it as, hey, we're going to be at Atlanta. I don't know if Atlanta's a good destination. You might get shot or something, but I think they might take it more as like
what
vacation.
The fuck?
What?
Jesus
God.
Atlanta? Do you not know Megos? Rich homie Quan? Come on, Charlie.
Come on,
It's
dude.
rough out there in the A-Town.
Dude.
Ludicrous?
I'm pretty sure they're going to be in a nice hotel.
Dude,
They can
Ludacris
take
is
shuttles
the fucking-
straight.
Yeah, but
Ludacris is the tech guy in the Fast and the Furious series. Like, how are you calling him hardcore? Like, he literally does.
have you heard the song Blueberry Yum Yum?
He literally does the computer work for him.
You
He's
gotta
the
get paid.
nerd.
Are you saying Ice Cube's not cool because he did those kid movies?
It's
This is a
certainly
difference
lost him a lot of
with-
street cred.
We'll talk about later. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I think they're taking it as a vacation. If we're being honest, like Vega, like what do they have to win? Because I'm sure they're gonna possibly just break up after TI when the whole thing happens.
I mean, there's going to be another CIS reshuffle. Some shit's going to happen. I mean, I think, you know, I can see a lot of these teams that have to play tournaments after they didn't get into TI as just putting in the most effort that's conveniently possible. You know what I
Blitz, you're coaching a team who's going to be doing that. Is that true?
You know, it's going to be a Vega Planet Odd finals. We've been training real hard for the past 3 weeks. Once we lost TI, we're like, guys, we're out of TI, but we can still win DreamLeague.
Yeah, so like I said, I think these guys are going to be putting in the most effort. That's
It's going to be a Planet Odd Vega finals, guys.
So Team Secret versus Team Liquid apparently is going to be our finals according to Blitz Dota. These 2 teams both heading to TI. Team Liquid looked very good. Obviously, in previous they did both well as Star Ladder as well as Epicenter, while Team Secret just sweep through the European qualifier. How do you think these teams will actually match up if we're going to eliminate our other 2, Blitz?
Why did we eliminate our other 2?
Oh, 'cause
They're garbage. No, I'm
Because
just
you're
kidding.
sarcastic, we're not going to be doing anything there.
I don't know. I think that if I'm being 100% serious, somebody, Kuro told me once, he's like, teams don't really save strats. It's more like how much it's less about saving strats and more like how much you really want to go into a tournament and win. And we're really superstitious on that Liquid team. I think a lot of teams are about doing well in a tournament before TI, because you want to go in with the right mentality for TI, which is like, do you remember last year when DC lost in, what was that tournament they were at, like Star Ladder? They got 6th or some shit.
Yeah.
And they got bodied, and then it motivated them. So you need something like that, which is why I think. So I'm not sure that anybody was saving strats at MDL, but I think for a lot of teams, like OG and EG, that was kind of like their, let's just go play, see what happens kind of tournament. And if they do bad, they can kind of swing that into like a, okay, guys, we're not as good as we thought we were. Like, let's kick it up a notch.
Yep.
It does happen. Like, as ridiculous as that sounds, if you win a tournament before TI or close before that, it kind of puts you in a more complacent mood because you think you're the shit, and you think like your ideas about the game don't have to be altered whatsoever.
Does it change how other teams look at you at all? Do you feel like if you win, then other teams are going to be studying you a little bit more?
You know what the best part of EG is? Somehow, like, they trick people into thinking that they're gonna suck or something. You remember it was like two years in a row or some shit. Everyone kind of doubted EG. They're like, they're not looking that great coming into this TI, and it's just body everyone to get top 3 every time.
Yeah.
I remember like the buzz around them every time is kind of like they had to go through the open quals and it's not really the same teams. I just came back and they just bodied everyone and got third anyways. Like,
so who do you think's a better team, Liquid or Secret? Who's gonna win the tournament?
I think it'll be Vega because some weird shit will happen where nobody really wants to win and Vega's like, all right, we'll take it.
So you actually think Vega's gonna win? I mean, they have Silent. Go Silent.
Go Silent.
Even though he's playing 4, okay. Not sure that's his role, but whatever.
So DreamHack is the 4-man. We're not really gonna try that hard tournament. That's what we're looking at here.
No, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
I think it's going to be a really interesting tournament. I don't know how high skilled the Dota. I think all 4 teams are really high skilled, but I don't know how high they're going to play. Like it just
we'll probably have some pretty interesting picks, right?
Yeah, you're casting that, Cap. Well, good for you. You earned it. Oh no, you're a panelist. Never mind. Sorry. No, that's good. Atlanta. What are you going to do down there? Anything?
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but. I mean, at least we'll probably have some interesting picks, right? I'm saying I'm sure we're going to all be watching it, right? Because we're dedicated Dota fans.
I'm playing Diablo, dude.
Jesus.
What? Oh, Diablo comes out for you, Charlie? You said this
season of Diablo is on 7/20. Jesus. You know, so I just bought a new Razor Blade today, so I could bring to TI so I could play in the hotel room.
Wait. Oh, I thought you meant like a switchblade.
No, like
I was like, you bought a Ray. What does this have to do with anything?
Like the laptop.
Oh, okay. Jesus. Well, I got one question. Is Sunby gonna be a good coach, Blitz, for Secret?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Sunby's coaching Secret.
We saw him at Summit. And but will Puppy? I think the biggest thing is Puppy get to listen to him. Like, is the Sunby Puppy connection gonna be strong enough?
I think so. I feel like Puppy's been chilled out over everything that's happened this year. Like it's probably been a pretty humbling experience, like everything that he had to go through. I feel like he'll do a good job.
I agree that he's taking it all in stride. I mean, I think it's his story to tell if he ever decides to tell it. I mean, I've heard his side. It's a lot more complicated than, I don't know, you may imagine or whatever. But I mean, I think more than anything, what like whoever story you believe or whatever, I think when talking to him, like I found that he's not the sort of my way or the highway kind of guy that a lot of people may think he is. So I think I mean, like he can be open and receptive to coaching.
Okay. It just seems weird, right? Like we talk about the toxic people in NA. I think West Street Variety was up there for a good time, and now he's going to be coaching a TI team.
West Street Variety.
West Street Variety.
Like, right? I've never had any issue with Sunby. I've never had any issue with Sunby. I think Sunby has a very strong issue with people who don't listen, though.
Yeah,
which I can understand.
I like Sun. I like him personally. I just find a lot of people find him toxic.
All right, we'll get to our final topic here. The new majors minors system. Valve put out a blog called the 2017-2018 competitive season, and they talk about their new approach to both the majors and the newly introduced minor system. Seems to be very much in the nature of the CSGO system and the way they have it. Charlie, I know you had some thoughts, and I know you're withholding some judgments just because there is really not a whole lot to go off of from this
Right.
blog.
Okay, so I don't know if this is going to be a rant or whatever, but so there's like everyone always talks about the decline of the Dota 2 player base, how viewership numbers aren't as high, blah blah blah, all this sort of stuff. And you know, people expect certain structures within the scene to change things, like majors and minors or whatever. But ultimately, I don't think we really know how this is going to impact the scene. I think at the end of the day, there's two things that make Dota grow and make this industry successful. So if you look at it, Dota esports, all of this is it's an entertainment industry. It's advertising. That is what we are. That is how we sustain ourselves, by sponsorships, by advertising, by all this, by selling content, all this shit. This is at the end of the day what we are. And so what makes us sustainable, what grows the industry, the only things that essentially matter and create a sustainable, thriving economy is viewership numbers. It's dollars per eyeball and amount of eyeballs. And anything that doesn't increase those two things is just inflation. And so the expectation that majors and minors, or whatever the fuck we do to improve the scene or whatever, is going to be better, is ultimately a matter of, does it increase dollars per eyeball or amount of eyeballs? And like right now, we don't know. You have no idea how majors and minors are going to impact the scene. You have no idea if third-party tournaments are going to get more support. You have no idea if this is going to make this more valuable to sponsors, because you don't really know the format of the new majors and minor system. You don't know how many majors, how many minors, what are the, like, is this still profitable for certain tournaments to invest this amount of buy-in to become a major or a minor? I had a short conversation with Adam from MLG, and he said that $500,000 as just the prize pool buy-in, plus like all the additional things you have to put in to run the tournament, is still like a hefty cost to invest in this space. And you know, you get like the sort of Valve sponsored moniker, but and another $500,000 to add to your prize pool, but what does that translate into you in terms of viewership dollars and sustainability? That's still a question mark.
So you think maybe initially there aren't going to be too many third-party organizers clamoring to jump on this major system?
I mean, there might. Again, it really depends on how this is all set up. Yeah. I think what's likely to happen is there are going to be a bunch of tournament operators that would like a piece of this. They're going to reach out to Valve. Valve is going to want these operators to RFP for a slot. And for those that don't speak the lingo or whatever, RFP means request for proposal. You're going to have to submit just basically a proposal to Valve. It's what PGL and ESL and everybody else had to do to get the majors in the past. And you'll have to submit this proposal. Valve's going to say, okay, we like yours, we don't like yours, or whatever. And you'll either get the slot or you won't. And you're probably going to have to compete with all the other companies that decide to RFP for that slot. But we don't know I mean, TLDR, we don't know fucking shit right now.
Can we at least say, since we don't really know the details, do you at least conceptually like the idea of where they're going? It does seem like they're trying to incentivize some of these third-party organizers to take a larger piece of the pie when it comes to the space outside of TI. Like there was a common complaint that the major system was taking up too much room in this season, that these third-party organizers and tournaments didn't really have a whole lot of space to operate.
Can I ask one thing? So now there's going to be no Valve majors except TI, right? Like not technically Valve only, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's make sure.
Should all be third-party organizers.
Yeah, and I was just looking at prize pools of all the tournaments. Right now, there'd be one major, and that would be Epicenter, barely with the $500,000 prize pool. Like, our teams really, like, because teams have to, maybe Charlie can correct me, teams have to go out there and find all these sponsors, all this, just to get a $500,000 prize pool if they want to be a major. That doesn't include, like, housing for the teams, flights, all that. They have to just get a minimum $500,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That just seems like a lot to me. A lot of money. Like, some of these, like, literally Epicenter was baseline $500,000. They were the only tournament to do it.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what the fuck happens? I think I do like the fact that they're making invites to TI a transparent process. That's very nice. I mean, conceptually, you would all think this is a step in the right direction, right? A more structured scene, stuff like that. But that's sort of what we said about the majors in the beginning when Valve announced the 3 major system. We all thought that this was a step in the right direction, but we saw how those events impacted the rest of the scene and impacted the rest of third-party tournaments. We saw majors conflict with established third-party events and made it harder for them to have their events. We saw, I won't name names, but there was one major that made one major tournament skip their date or change their dates. And so that tournament had to change their dates, and that impacted the amount of sponsorship sales that they could get for that tournament. So that impacted their bottom line. And it made them more difficult there. So like, how will we see the interplay between this new major minor system and third-party tournaments that aren't a part of that? Like, we don't know yet.
Yeah. So pretty much teams are screwed if they aren't a major or minor, because they still won't know. Other major and minors, like, it says they all have to go through Valve to make sure nothing overlaps. But if you're outside of that group, you're probably going to get screwed still. That's the big thing.
By teams, you mean tournament?
Tournament, yeah, tournament's my bad.
So what about from a player perspective, viewer perspective, talent, etc.? Are we a big fan of?
Can I go over a crazy idea I had about this? So your team, the points only matter for your highest 3-point totals. What happens if a team splits into 2 because they have 3 of their highest points, and then they had put their 2 others on, say, EG.B? No matter what, you're going to get 2 automatic qualifiers because these 2 are going to be so much higher than a lot of the other teams. You just need that third person who has a lot of points, and you're getting invited, right? 2 teams.
That sounds like a bit of a.
Wouldn't you be ruining your chances though, in a way, Grant? Because don't you want the
No,
best
aren't
team
you doubling your chances, Blitz? No,
why
you have
would you
2 teams that could.
Why would you just effectively split your team for no reason just to get another?
Another team. It's a Dendi thing. He's not going to ever qualify for something, but his social media is out there. You get him there just as a kind of a joke.
Okay, so what you're saying, this is Na'Vi's play. Everything plays out. They temporarily kick Dendi, they pick up some players, and then they just like kick one guy and make room for him so he sneaks in.
I mean, if he has a lot of point total and gets him there, maybe. I'm just saying it could be abusable.
Sure,
of course it could be abusable, but
I think there are certain scenarios like that where Valve would probably implement rules to make sure like shit like that doesn't happen. I think like the thing that we have to worry about are like the unforeseen circumstances on like how it affects the rest of the industry as a whole. Is this good for players? Maybe. It depends on how it affects the rest of the industry as a whole. From a pure prize pool standpoint, they're probably getting less money. Like if you just calculate it out, like last year there was 2 majors. That's $6 million that Valve put in prize pool. I don't think Valve's going to put in $6 million this next year, so they're getting less money. Is it better for talent? You know, it actually might be better for talent. Now that I think about it,
I think it is, but
yeah, I think it's better for talent.
Unless you're blacklisted from a few of the organizers. Fuck MLG. It's all
Andrew,
good.
you're
you're blacklisted by MLG.
I mean, Adams like blocked me on Twitter in like 2013 when they did their first event, and then like it sucked, and then they thought Dota 2 was garbage. So the first tournament when they came back, I made like a Reddit post. It's like one of my top ones where I called Adam a dumbass and he's just here to steal money, and I got guilded like 4 times. Somebody had me blocked, and I think they said I wasn't allowed at MLG New Orleans. Was that them?
Yeah.
Just like to go as a spectator. I'm like, okay,
Wait. So
I
he
think-
blocked you because you called him a dumbass?
yeah. No, not a dumb. I didn't even talk to him on like Twitter. It was because I said he was just a money grubbing guy who's just coming back to Dota after because he flamed Dota when he left the first time. He's like, this won't go anywhere, and then he comes back. Yeah, that was back when I was in I'm going to defend Dota. I'm going to defend the people I like till the death, and I went all out. So I mean, I probably did. Maybe I deserved it. I don't know about a permanent ban. Just like
I don't know. I don't think it's permanent, dude. I think
fuck them.
I think there are a lot of tournament organizers who wouldn't have hired you back then, Grant. That will
not
now.
back then. No, I was flaming in general, not from a hiring point, but I'm sure. Yeah, whatever.
So
Was that
I'm
because
sure
of
it's not a
the
permanent
shit that they
blacklist.
pulled with like the caster thing? Do you remember that?
You'd have to like.
Oh yeah,
refresh,
when their
but,
MLG was supposed to be hiring casters.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
They
I
just
mean,
honey dicked a bunch of people and then it went nowhere.
and then only Grant was there to defend the honor. Yeah, no biggie.
God bless you, Grant.
Just kidding. No, it'll be interesting, right? Because does Valve get a say in who gets hired? Because they're technically putting money into the event, or is it just going to be all through the organizer?
How is it in CS:GO? I think CS:GO Valve doesn't have a say, do they?
I don't think so. No.
Majors? I do not know, but yeah.
Yeah, I believe CS:GO major TOs decide talent themselves.
You probably can't have Steel. I'm assuming they at least say that you can't have a banned player. I'm sure.
But for the most part, that's why I think it's better for talent.
Can you know what the weird thing is, Grant? On a side note, it's like I don't have any beef with Adam, but I will say like some of the stuff that MLG did was a little scummy. But it's like if you just post in Reddit, like, and you know you're running a tournament, and you post in Reddit, like your cred goes up, even if your tournament sucks ass.
No, it did. Yeah,
Post in
for
Reddit,
him.
it's like,
I remember.
yeah, guys, I'm really sorry about the technical issue, or you know, you make some memes or some shit, and everyone's like, one of us, and
Yeah, people like the direct communication. I think it's for so long that people feel like the voice wasn't really being heard. About...
Yeah, the sense of transparency. Even if they're not being transparent, at least they're posting something, unlike that other tournament down the street. Yeah, I mean, people like that.
They think that their post is being seen and actually respected. And
so it didn't say how many majors there could be, right? It just said if you have 500,000, you can be majors. There could be up to, who knows, 10. I bet there won't be, but it's just interesting. They set up a foundation, but that foundation, we're still like leveling the ground. We haven't even started building yet, is what it feels like for me.
I don't know. It feels like it feels like we're taking old buildings and demolishing some, attaching some to others, and just like fucking shaking the entire box and seeing what comes out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like the general public loved the major minor thing without really reading into it. I'm not saying it's bad. I think it definitely could be good, because I think now that, right, SA, you have to have qualifiers for SA, CIS. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think this can be really good, or it could be really bad. Like, who the fuck knows? There's not enough information yet.
Yeah,
I mean, looking at CS:GO, I think that the minor system is got to be very beneficial for both viewers as well as the teams, the tier 2, tier 3 teams. I mean, this helps build storylines, gets eyeballs on some of these lesser known teams. Like
all I know is it super helped Australia. Like, they have a bunch of teams that actually compete now because they have that extra minor, which is super good. It could be the same thing for SA or even just CIS and Dota. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Go Australia.
All right. Any final words on the major minor system? All right. Well, I think that's it. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we close this out?
You guys all going to TI?
I will be going to TI.
Sick.
Yeah.
Me too. Can't wait to see you guys there. Blitz, you gonna go?
Yeah, I'll be there
Oh,
as a homie.
okay. I'll give you a big ol' hug, buddy.
Thanks.
Me too.
And then some of that devil's lettuce. It's legal. No, I'm just kidding. See ya.
I'm sure we'll do this podcast again. We'll talk about.
Somebody asked favorites for TI.
I mean, I had that written down, but I'm not sure if you guys really want to go over that because I feel like the consensus is going to be that the TI nobody really knows for sure just because.
All right, let's do it the other way. Let's do it the other way.
Who's gonna bomb out?
No. We don't have to do. We don't have
Everyone
to
in SCA.
Okay.
Just kidding.
We can do your dark horse.
Okay.
Your dark horse.
I'll just do. I'm gonna give my favorite is gonna be EG. My dark horse, I think is gonna be. I think Secret. I don't know if they're a dark horse. They got first in Europe, but I think they're gonna be a top 4 team. Is how I see it. And they're gonna prove. And then the team who just is gonna be complete garbage. I honestly think it's probably gonna be Empire.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say my favorites. OG. My dark horse. I think LGD is gonna do really well. I know they're not quite a dark horse, but I could see them top 4. I could see like Infamous. I think they're a dark horse in a way, and that I think that it's possible they can get top 8, which I think would be very good placing for them. And I think like Execration is not going to do so well. I was watching that, but I wasn't terribly impressed.
I feel you, brother.
All right. My favorite is. I mean, I guess it's.
Are you not going to say EG?
Come on, Charlie.
So, I guess my favorite's EG, but
Yeah.
But you gotta. But if I have to bet on a team that's gonna win, I don't think it's them. I just don't think it's them. I just don't know which other team it is.
You think it's going to be another top 3 placing for them, but not actually win?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
why not OG? We're talking about consistency is the most important thing for a TI. Yes, they failed that last year.
They're not consistent at TI.
One TI, but they're consistent at every single major
I'm not
tournament,
blaming them.
right?
I'm just saying that, yeah,
Really
it's.
mostly, I wouldn't say OG, mostly because I don't feel like this patch suits them very well.
Okay.
If I'm gonna say a team, if I had to bet on a team, it'd actually be Liquid or VP. I mean, I think EG will do well. The favorites never really win, you know? Favorites never win TI. And then
Nope.
my dark horse is it's probably Forever Young. And then the team that I think is going to absolutely bomb out, I'll pick 2. I'll pick Infamous, and I'll pick DC.
All right, bud. No, you're
Aw,
good. You're
damn.
good. No, you're good. Fuck you. Just NA and SA. You really think how good? Like, you think DC will get last place? Like, kind of bad, or
I don't know.
Bulba's gonna be so sad.
he's just saying? Nah, he's just.
I was just fucking around because I was hoping Bulba was watching, and I just wanted to fuck with him.
I know Mason was, so you just.
I just
Mason's
wanted to
just
fuck
gonna kick
with
your
him.
ass.
No, he's not. I don't actually think DC's gonna bomb out. But I actually do think I don't think Infamous will do that well.
I don't either. I think they'll try. Good for them, public school mentality. But I agree. They're still better than SCA besides TNC. But yeah, go on, Blitz.
How does that fucking work? You think you don't think Infamous will do well? You think they'll bomb out?
Yeah, why
4
didn't you
people
say
have to get last
Fnatic or
place, right?
Execration bomb?
They are.
People
People expect them to bomb
All
out.
right. All right, who's your? No. There's only a bottom. There's a bottom two now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a bottom two because
I mean, it's the teams that are
17th
eliminated from
yeah,
the tournament.
17th and 18th place don't get to play on the main stage.
Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, definitely going to be Fnatic and Execration then.
Oh my god. All right.
Blitz, you there?
Yeah.
Hey.
What's up, fam?
Hey, dude.
You got favorites in any of that nonsense, or you good?
I think EG/Liquid/VP, any one of those three will win. I think my dark horse team will be Planet Dog, and my
Spicy.
complete team that's just gonna fucking bomb. Like, I mean, there are the obvious answers, right? Like, I think Infamous might not do very well, but I think there's more interesting answers out there.
Sure. Yeah. Give us your most interesting.
Yeah, it could be 8th place when they're supposed to be top 3.
I think IG will flame out.
Okay. I can back that answer.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sure.
Who do you guys think Planet Dog's going to get sponsored by, speaking to them? Like, they're going to get a sponsor, right, you think?
Why not just go as Planet Dog?
I don't.
I agree, but...
I don't.
You know
think
what you do? Oh, sorry.
Oh no! Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you go back to Pro Dota and ask them for a lot of money.
No, honestly, if I were an independent team going into TI right now, I would just go as yourself. There's no point in being sponsored right now.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody, right? It's either you ask for something so outrageous, like you give them 0% of the prize pool if you win, they get their name on stage. Like that's the only reason you can't sponsor, right? That's how I looked at it.
Because right now, a lot of these teams coming in, a lot of these MGOs, multi-gaming organizations coming in, they're going to want to sign you for much longer than however TI lasts. They're going to want you to sign you for the TI now and the TI after. And you have no idea what's going to happen within that year time. And you're going to be locked into this contract for that time. And they get 2 TIs out of it. You can just like play this TI and be done with it and then sign a contract after. Like no team is there's actually no team out there that's going to offer a Planet Dog enough for that to be worth it, and they're going to want a prize cut out of it.
Surely there's got to be some some Hoboken tier 3, tier 4 sponsor out there that's willing to offer you like 0% of prize pool and like $500 for the month.
Dude, that's not fucking worth it, man.
Like, why not? It's free money at that point.
I think that they definitely want. I think after they see all the other teams, they might get one for the fact to fly to NA and to house them. I think that might be why they get a sponsor, right?
That would be honestly that would be the only reason to do that. No. But at the same time, to fly to NA early, Valve will pay for early flights. So all you really need to do is find lodging for that period and find a place to boot camp. There's the summit. They offer great prices. You can sleep in that house, working internet and everything. It doesn't cost that much, and honestly, like that can come out of however much money you get at TI. That'll easily cover it. Like a sponsorship, like there's no team that's gonna give you something that's worth it right now.
17th and 18th place still get money, right?
I believe that they will. Last place last year did.
Yeah, I feel bad. I still feel bad for those TI 2 through 4s who never got the money.
I think like the only circumstance where it's worth it to take a sponsor right now is if you're a team and you know you're going to be shit and you don't think your career is going to go anywhere for a year. You just want to grab a sponsor and it's like, yeah, take some prize pool or whatever, just pay us this amount of salary for this 2 TI period, and just we think we're going to be shit. We're not going to tell you that. We're just going to swindle the fuck out of you for this year, and just sign us on. We'll do it and just pay us a salary for that time. That is the only scenario where it's worth it.
So do you think they'll do it? Right? Like, I think they will.
I think that's possible. Because here are the two factors that that go into that, right? So on one hand, players aren't always rational. They don't. None of them expect to be shit. None of them expect to be bottom place. Every one of these players has an ego. They all think we're at least better than these guys. We can at least make it here. We can at least get some amount of prize pool. Everybody goes into these negotiations thinking there's no way we're going to be last place.
Yeah.
And so, like, they think they're going to get some amount of money. And that, so like that's one half of it. The other half of it is like a lot of players don't understand. Like it's hard to tell where your career is going to go after TI. There's this sense that, you know, I want to be a part of an organization right now because I've never been part of a good one, and maybe they're promising me all this other good shit for the rest of the year. I'm not going to get kicked. We're going to stay together forever. I mean, it's just like a lot of misinformation, naivety. Like, so I can see like those factors coming in to maybe influence Planet Dog to just take some sponsor.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what Charlie's saying, Planet Dog, you guys need a boot camp or anything, contact Charlie Yang. He'll hook you up.
Oh, contact
Charlie Yang.
Contact David Gorman.
He'll make the connections for you.
Contact David Gorman.
All right. I think that's the end of the podcast. Anything else, guys? Grant, you got nothing? Blitz?
No, just, you know, tune in. I'll be, not right now, but I'll be streaming NA, and there's going to be more and more, you know, Chinese, European people always casting pubs. So if you like seeing Arteezy shit talk Super or somebody, I don't know, just stop on by.
All right, you gonna go stream right now?
Nah, I'm not.
All right,
dude, I've did 3 times this week. I usually do 3 times a month, so it's been rough.
All right, go check him out at GrandGrant, twitch.tv, GrandGrant as well. He puts on very entertaining solo casts, and this is pretty much the best time to watch Grant since we got some really good NA pubs going on right now with all the TI players coming in.
I've even seen you in one, Cap.
Oh boy. Do you flame the hell out of me when you're casting me?
It's only been one. I didn't even cast that game, but you were in a good one. But we'll see. I mean, I'm just gonna hold you up to the standard of everyone else. If you're playing in those games with them, you need to be the same skill level as them.
All right, Grit. You gotta message me next time you're casting one of my games so I can turn up my game. You know, I only do it for the eyeballs. You know.
All right, yeah, I'll get you.
All right. Blitz, you good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Charles, you good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll be back sometime when all the TI information comes out. We'll probably do another one of these. So, for now, thanks for watching. Check out GrandGrant.
Esports sucks.